Welcome back to another episode of Starting Out, a podcast where we share our stories of starting out in this great big world. We talk about our highlights, trials and tribulations, and lessons we've learned along the way. So, as you are starting your journey, we hope you can learn from us. So, Cor, what's the topic for today?
The topic for today is a little bit different because it's not really something specific we're talking about like our previous episodes, but you might not have noticed, but we took a little bit of a break with this podcast of ours, with this little baby of ours. And because we took quite a long break, actually, we kind of wanted to give our listeners a little bit of behind the scenes. Not really a deep dive into everything that's been happening and everything we've been feeling, but more so, this is what we've kind of been doing besides the podcast.
Yeah, there has been some time that has elapsed and a lot has changed. And I think we want to be like transparent as to what's been going on. And also, life is not perfect. As much as we maybe have like wisdom for our university years and stuff, I think living our lives now, things still happen, you know, we're still learning and everything. So without further ado, I will go first for my first update. Buckle up, guys. It's a
As a disclaimer, with Anika's update, I feel like it could be like a 10-part season series, HBO like premiere type of deal. It's juicy, but the thing is we wanted this episode to be like a very quick update, so we're not gonna go into like the super ingrained details.
Yeah, it could be honestly a Lifetime movie at this point, but we live for the drama. All right, so my updates are over the summer, there has been a lot of changes. My boyfriend and I broke up. Then I had to move back to Toronto, and I did a big girl move. I got my own apartment with my own room, with my own kitchen, with my own bathroom, all by myself. That's a journey in itself. To add chaos to the mix, I also started a new job. And this all happened in the span of 2 months. So I started seeing a therapist as well. Honestly, she is basically the MVP as she got me through all these very life-changing decisions that I had to make. And because I have all this newfound time, I decided to pursue my business that I've always wanted to start it. And if you are interested in that, I write a newsletter every week. And I basically go through my thought process of how I'm going to build this business, what resource I've been using, what I've been thinking, and all that. And I feel like now is a time for reflection and contemplation. So it's a good newsletter because I reflect upon a lot of stuff, and I also offer a lot of links and all that. So if you're interested, you should check that out.
Oh my goodness, Anika. People usually not only go through any of these, maybe like one or two of these, but like you've experienced 6 different things within the span of 2 months.
Yeah. Honestly, like life can change in an instant.
So how did you feel at like the beginning of everything, where like, you know, at the beginning of those 2 months that were like hell? And then how do you feel now?
Oh, when I first was going through this, absolutely overwhelmed. I think anxiety at its peak, to be honest. There is just a lot going on, and I feel like it takes a certain level of calming yourself down in these situations that is very needed and truly a life skill to have. Because when I look upon it now, how I felt then and how I feel now, I feel very well equipped to handle anything in life. And things are really difficult, but I always find a way to be resilient and also to be resourceful. So I have turned my overwhelmness into many positive things. So finding a therapist to deal with emotions rather than, you know, like obviously I went through a grieving process and a lot of anxiousness. Like I still feel it today, but I feel like I'm even more well equipped. Now I have like a professional helping me. And then also because I've done something so terrifying, like finding my own apartment, quitting my job, truly taking responsibility for my actions in my life, which is honestly not fun, because when you take responsibility, it's fucking painful to be like, oh, you know what? That does not serve me anymore. I need to go find better, or that does not add value in my life, or I am grateful that happened, but now it's time for me to make a switch and go find more or find something new. Like, that in itself has made me realize, like, if I just put that mindset towards other things, like starting the newsletter, starting the business, I wonder where I can go. And like right now, I do feel very empowered. Like, I feel like I can do things. So I feel a lot better now. And I'm glad we're making this update, because it's very easy, again, to be like, oh, they just have everything together, or like they have their shit together. No, I still am tested every day. And I think getting a therapist was like, it's like, oh, I can handle this on my own. But I'm like, do I?
Yeah.
Should I? No, I should probably get help. And like, I also need assistance, and I also need guidance.
I feel like each of your points is like an episode, like a 40-minute long episode all on its own.
Anybody wants us to pitch them a TV series,
Yes.
let us know. But I'm trying not to, though. Like, that is like pure chaos. And we're in 2022, we are trying to not have that much chaos in our lives.
It's funny because when we were going through this outline for this episode, mine was so vanilla compared to Anika's. And then she's like, no, the point is you're not trying to add more to the list. Like, you want less to the list. Oh, like, you always thought of like other people's lives so interesting when you hear like gossip about like, oh, like this is who's breaking up. You don't want to be that person whose life is like, you know, out there and like everyone knows what's happening.
Exactly. We're striving for stability. So, Corinna, what are your updates? What have you been up to in these last 2 months, other than being my therapist on demand, on calls?
Yes. Besides that, as you all know already, I'm back in school for nursing. So I'm about half a semester in so far. Really enjoying it, really seeing myself becoming a healthcare professional in 4 years. On top of that, I've also been balancing a couple of other things as well. Of course, everyone needs income, so I've also been taking on a couple of part-time jobs as well, and really trying to reprioritize my physical well-being as like one of the key things on top of school and part-time jobs. Just because for a while, like, I think it has something to do with the seasons for me, but especially during the summer, I'm very on top of my fitness, my workouts and everything. Like, I'm very on point and I'm always on schedule with them. But I feel that once it starts getting colder, I just don't find myself having the drive and motivation to go to the gym anymore. I kind of like starting myself off small, where like I would do workouts at home and then trying to like slot in like 1 or 2 sessions where I actually go into the gym, but also really try to like reconnect with one of the sports that I really love playing. So I really do love playing volleyball. So I've also been trying to play more consistently with a group of friends, which I have been. So I play once every week, but I don't think I could play any more than I already do, just because I have so many other things already. And then one of the ways I really try to de-stress, like at the end of every night, is I really try to read more. So I know in our previous episodes, we've done a couple of book talks already and book reflections. So because of that, we're really hoping in the future to do more of those, because I think our listeners really like to hear kind of like a summary and like our reflection and our stories from that story as well.
If you want to get ahead of the game, you should all read Defining Decade, because we're gonna do a little book talk on that. But anyways, how are you feeling with all the changes? Starting like a new program, you know, you have all these like side projects along with this one. How are you feeling with all the changes, and kind of where are you at today?
Yeah, I think where I am today is I just feel honestly so refreshed because I talked about this previously where like I was a new grad and at my first job I just wasn't happy and I just didn't see myself in that long term. And so especially being back in school and then reprioritizing my physical well-being, like seeing new friends when playing volleyball again, and just like reconnecting with myself by reading more. Like all of these things, I feel I'm doing a very healthy balance of all of these things in unison, which ultimately just makes me feel very refreshed. I almost feel like a new person where people are like, oh, like you're back in school. What for? MBA? No, a brand new undergraduate 4-year program.
Now that's awesome, honestly. I feel like I can see it within you as well. Like you seem very refreshed and like recharged. Yeah, I feel like when you make changes like that, you have almost like your zest for life back, right? Because you're like, oh, there's like fun things to do. Like now I get to learn stuff. Like these are things that I actually genuinely interest me. And I have a curiosity to go, further look into these things.
I think it's like the first time in my life where I am very happy in like all aspects of my life. Because before it's like, oh, I had social, like I had friends and I have volleyball, but career wise, like I was never really satisfied. So I feel like right now it's a very healthy balance of everything. And I just feel like at the beginning of Anika's transition, it's like I just feel very stable right now.
Stability. That is what we are striving for.
Yeah.
Oh,
but sometimes
my
I feel like, oh, maybe it's too like boring. Maybe I want to fuck up my life and just like add more to the list. But then I'm like, you know what? I think I'm good here, sis.
Exactly. You know what? When things are stable, things are in flow, bask in that rhythm of life. Because when things like get really hectic and crazy, it's not fun. But then you get to live your best life after. Because then you're like, okay, well, I found my flow. Now I can live my life again.
Yeah, but it does seem like you're starting to find your flow as well, especially going to therapy. What would you say after the whole 2-month debacle, after attending multiple therapy sessions? What's your big statement?
Yeah, I think one big thing that I learned is like change is inevitable, right? Like no matter how big or small, like you'll always have to go through some type of change, and you can resist it. You can say like, no, I don't like changes and stuff, but life doesn't work that way. And I think because of that, you shouldn't be scared of changes. Yes, it was very terrifying what I was going through, but like if it didn't happen like this year, it may have happened next year. It would have happened anyways, because I feel like change is an opportunity for you to capitalize on. And if you are truly prepared for the opportunity and when it presents itself, you can actually take the bull by its horns, like actually go on that ride. I think I would like to give a shout out to past Anika. You know how we were like, oh, do finance Sundays? Save a little bit of money here and there. You never know. Let's be real. I didn't expect to go through all these changes on a random July evening. Like, you literally did not plan for it. I did not plan to do all these things in 2021. Maybe 2022, I was like, maybe I'll move back to Toronto. No. With that being said, because I was able to save money and was so diligent this year on managing my finances and just having the funds, the flexibility to make a change if I needed to make a change, I am extremely grateful that I did that. And sometimes we think about like, what is this money even for? Like, unfortunately, we all don't have a crystal ball. Like, we don't have a crystal ball to be like, on this fateful day, you will need to take out this much amount of money to do it. When you have money set aside, it's an extreme, obviously first, it's privilege to have money set aside. I won't say that like everybody gets to do this, but if you're ever contemplating like, I wonder if I should even be saving, what's the point of saving? Shouldn't I live in the moment right now, right here? Yes. But when there is an opportunity that presents itself to make a change and you have been preparing for that moment, it is so much easier to live life to your own rules and terms when you have money saved aside and you have all these resources ready to go if you're ready to make that change. So I'm really grateful for that. And then the second thing I'll be really come into realization is I feel like therapy was like such a integral part. I've been missing this tool my whole life, and I feel like I was able to get through a lot of things, not like the goal is to do things faster or like more efficient, but trying to get myself back on track to live a good life now and be in flow and everything. I think therapy was a big part of that. I couldn't have done it on my own. And if you, again, have the privilege and the means, it is a huge help to take responsibility for your own mental health and take responsibility for your own self and like the way you think. Because as much as you think, you're like, oh, when I go to work, I show up as like my work self. Like my personal life will never integrate into my work life, or my personal life will never infiltrate into my friend's life. No, not really, because like yourself is always yourself, right? You have different versions of it, but there's always a dotted line to everything. And I feel like when you have therapy and you can like heal some of your mental traumas or whatever you need therapy for, it makes life a lot easier. Like you can show up to your work better, you can show up to your friends better. And I'll just leave it off with the reason why I want to stick with therapy for the rest of my life is, as a person that doesn't go to the gym, I do not go to the gym once a year when I'm about to go on vacation and expect toned arms, toned legs, bubble butt, and rock hard abs. I do not expect that when I go to the gym once per year. So why on earth would I go to therapy once a year and expect everything to be alleviated, all my childhood traumas, everything that I'm going through? Like, I would never expect that. So like anything in life, the more energy you put into it, the more you can get out of it. Save your money and go to therapy. is my big
It's our big statement for every episode.
Yeah, I feel like how we're going to drill it into people's head. Oh my gosh. Anywho, what have you been learning? What is your big statement?
My big statement is it's okay to take breaks because we took a break on our podcast. It's not like everything's put on hold. It's like what Anika said. The more energy you put into something, like you can't put 100% of your effort and energy into every single thing that you do, because sooner or later we'll know like you burn out very quickly. And we felt that with our podcast as well, where when we didn't plan properly, or like when we try to put more effort in, we're like, oh, you know what? Like we're burnt out. We can't produce 5 episodes in a week. It's just not possible, and it's not sustainable in the long term. So I found that it's really important just to reprioritize what was important in my life. I really found the importance of finding the balance between like work, your mental health, school, like social life and friends and everything. And I think just because I have like such an optimal level of all of it, I don't want to jinx it, but it's like very stable. And it almost feels a little bit like, oh, well, like it might feel boring to some people where it's like, oh, well, it's just like you almost got yourself into a little routine. But I don't think people realize like you don't want the opposite. Like you don't want what Anika was like going through, where like she uprooted her life in 2 months. Like that's not the goal of life.
That's pure chaos. Don't do that.
And I think I'm just very happy with the stability, especially going back to school, where I know I talked about it. I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But my other big statement would be, if you're thinking about making a career switch and you need to go through additional schooling or get another certificate, another diploma, degree, whatever it may be, I always like say to myself, oh, like I don't want to think back and think what if. I want to think to myself, oh, okay, I tried, but it didn't work, or it did work. But I think that's also very important for our listeners, is if you're feeling a little weird about your age or like not sure if this is your career, just do it. It's not weird at all. I thought I'd be like one of the oldest people in my class, but I'm like average age for my class.
Geriatric alert.
Geriatric. Let me take out my dentures.
Oh, man. Yeah. Honestly, I am very proud of you for making the leap and the change.
I'm proud of you.
And getting into...
I'm proud of you.
I said I'm proud of you first.
Me too. I'm proud of me too, but I'm proud of you more.
Oh, I'm proud of you as well. I feel like it's good to have people in your life that have stability, because that's another thing too. I think we don't really like talk about this as well, as like I feel like a lot of our friends and the people in our lives are a reflection of who we are too. You hang out with people that are similar to you, and it's really great to see like our friends doing well, and obviously you and I are doing well now, but like it's nice to see our friends doing well, you know, getting into their rhythms as well. Yeah, 2020 was a lot, and like 2021 was like a big, almost like a little reset on everybody's lives. So it's nice that as we were like talking mid-November, that like people are starting to like get into their routines and stuff again, and it's not just like a big chaotic movement. So I hope whoever's listening as well, if you have gone through some chaotic stuff, or you're trying to make a change, that once you take responsibility for it, it usually is a good thing, because you get to prioritize the good things in life.
Yeah, we just want us to say thank you to all of our listeners who continue to listen to our podcast and all of the episodes we put out. But we want to know who you are. We're actually very curious to hear and to learn more about you. Like, where are you from? What's your story? Are there things that you really like about our stories? Like topics that you like? Do you want us to hear more of certain things? Let us know.
Oh, 100%. We are on Instagram now. We have made it a point to post regularly over there, and I feel like that's the best way to chat with us in our DMs. So if you head on over to startingoutpod_, you can chat with us. We always appreciate the feedback and like your stories. Hey, maybe we'll do like an ask us anything kind of thing one day. But we have a lot of ideas for 2022. And we actually took this time to also reflect on our podcast as well, as we got our friends to listen to them. I feel like they're getting value out of it. They're like, okay, wow, like I like your book recommendations or anything. I feel like when feedback is given, we're able to create more value. So if we're taking up your time in your precious day, we would love to like add something to your life. Just let us know what you want, and hopefully we can deliver. And with that, we hope to see you on the next episode. Bye! You have just been listening to the Starting Out podcast. If you liked today's episode, please make sure to rate and like the show. Also, leave us a review. It helps us a lot. To never miss an episode, please subscribe and turn on notifications. We love to hear from you. So if you want to chat with us, tweet us at startingoutpod. Links are in the description. As always, we are so excited for you to start out on your journey, all while listening to ours. See you in the next one.